Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. I am Coach Sherry, and this channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. A few days ago, I had posted on my community wall a poll question, and I wanted to really just kind of get a feel of what is going on with everyone regarding their resumes, their bios, and see who was really resume ready out there. Only 2 people responded to that poll question, but that's okay because it was a 50-50, one person said yes, one person said no. So the question was around, is your resume professional and is it updated and effectively reflecting who you are as a professional? So one person said yes and one person said no. So in addition to the things that I do, I am a career coach, and I always tell my clients to be resume ready at all times. I don't care if you've never worked for anyone before in your life, or if you've never had a job, wanted a job, needed a job. Everyone should have a resume to reflect what you can do, what you are great at, what you are a subject matter expert in. It should be on a document somewhere that's accessible, not just to you, but to also to your loved ones. Think about obituaries, how people scramble around trying to find out who their loved one was as a professional. What were they great at? They know who they were personally, but who were they professionally? And so I feel like that's a living document. That's a working document. That's a document that needs to be updated every 6 months. And if you are in a career or on a career path, it definitely needs to be reflective of who you are, where you're trying to go, and what you are great at. So your resume needs to be updated every 6 months, because within a 6-month time span, you will have learned something new. You will have done something that was amazing. You would have contributed to some type of project, led a project, supervised, managed. You may have changed positions, received a promotion, changed departments, changed divisions, opened a new business. Just so many things could have happened in 6 months' time. What is still relevant? In 6 months' time, things become irrelevant. So you need to take those off of your resume. Your resume should not have anything on there that's older than 10 years. So you need to keep your resume updated. There's some things at the bottom that in the next month or 6 months or a year or two, you're going to have to take it off because it's going to be outdated. And it doesn't mean that you can't talk about that experience or that position in an interview. It just means that it does not belong on your updated resume. Now, a bio is very important, especially if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a speaker, if you are someone who does presentations, because when you do presentations on a national or regional or local level, 9 times out of 10, the organization that is bringing you in to do your speaking engagement, they're going to want to have a bio. And that's an overview, an outline of who you are and what your accomplishments are. Because people that are sitting in your audience, they want to have some background information. Like, who is this person standing before us that's speaking, that's telling me something that they want me to listen to, that they want me to implement and understand? Is this a credible person? So you want your bio to reflect why you are the subject matter expert in what you are speaking on. If you have publications, if you've written articles, if you've done podcasts, if you've been interviewed, any of those things, you should have the link to them in your resume, on your resume. When you have it, you want to have if you wrote an article, of course, you want to have the title of the article, when it was published, all of those things. But also provide a link. Since we are in a technology time, your resume 9 times out of 10 will be viewed via email or on the computer. So the person that's reviewing your resume will be able to click the link to go directly to that article. If you've done a podcast, make sure you get the link so that you can provide that link, that hyperlink, so that the person looking at it can click on it and be able to access it and listen. You know, sometimes people want, especially if it's your bio, sometimes they want to hear an example of a time when you may have did some training or presented. And those interviews, those podcasts, those virtual trainings that you may have done really work well with giving them that sample of who you are. All of those things go into who you are professionally. And I'm trying to tell you, 9 times out of 10, your family has no clue. And when they do find out all of who makes you who you are outside of your family, outside of your friendships, it can be mind-blowing. You know, I go on my day-to-day, the only thing my family knows is what I do with them, you know, what my husband and I have done and are doing. But the things that I do to build my legacy, to leave my personal footprint, is so dynamic as well. And when my children, especially when my children hear of the things that I'm doing, it just pauses them. It makes them really look at me differently. But you know, you want to have that, you want to have it documented, because that is part of your legacy. That's the life that you're living. So you want to have some documentation of it so that people, future generations to come, can see all of your accomplishments too, and they can strive for it. And how incredible would that be? You know, 2 generations from now, your great-grandchild, your great-great-grandchild sees your bio or sees your resume from 2022, and they look at it and they're doing similar things. You know, they can be like, wow, my great-great-grandmother or grandfather, we're doing this too. This must be something that is in me, you know, it's part of my DNA. So definitely those things are so important. And also it's helpful for you to remember who you are and where you've come. You know, that's how you see what goals you've achieved when you start putting it down on paper as your accomplishments. You're like, wait a minute, I know how to do that. Oh, I do. I'm competent in doing this. This is a core competency of mine. This is a skill. This is my work experience. This is my business experience. I've written these many articles. Or if you don't have some of those things, you may want to see how you can gain those skills, those competencies. You know, if you haven't written an article, why not? Look for publications that are looking for new articles, publications online. You know, virtual publications as well as tangible publications are always looking for new content. So if you have something to give, if you have a message, if you have a new strategy, if you have ideas that will be helpful to others, write it out, make it into an article. Go to Fiverr, Fiverr, and look for an editor that can edit your work. If you don't know someone that is an editor already, you know, edit it yourself. Who knows? Oftentimes when you submit articles to be in publications, those publications have editors as well. I know my very first article that I wrote for a regional publication went through many edits. I thought my version that I sent them was good to go. I'm like, all right, here you are. But there were so many things, you know, even though the photos that I used in that article I had to cite myself. So I'm not only a published author in writing, but also the photos I've taken are also published, which is a great accolade to have. But, you know, I learned a lot from that process. So when I wrote a national article, it was a lot easier. You know, I received the feedback so much better, and I grew from that experience too. But look for those types of opportunities so that you can submit what you have to give. Also, think about presenting. You know, if you are an SME in a particular industry, or you know something, like if you're in HR and you know a lot about recruiting, about retention, succession planning, onboarding, if you know about a particular way of training people, all those make great topics for conferences. Conferences are always looking for new speakers to come in and present and train the attendees keys. So, you have to write it out. You have to write out your scope. You have to write out what will your topic, what is the end goal? What will a person walk away from that particular training with? What new knowledge will they gain? Write that out. They'll give you the outline. It's actually really easy. And when you have who you are and what you can contribute down packed, that makes it that much easier to put it down on paper. And it makes it that much easier to get accepted, to get your proposal accepted. So put yourself out there, just like I used to tell my center child, my middle daughter, when taking them to the playground where it was just random children playing, and she used to sit up under me sometimes, and I would tell her, girl, go over there to that group of girls. They're not going to come over here with an invitation. You're going to have to go in there and just insert yourself. So I'm telling you, girl, dude, insert yourself. You're not going to always get that invitation. If you know you have that gift, if you know that's what you want to do, insert yourself. And submit your information, submit your talents to those places that are looking for people just like you, and you will be on your way. Next thing you'll know, you'll have a laundry list of articles that you have published. Next thing you know, you'll have a laundry list of trainings and presentations that you actually did as a speaker. The invitation is not always going to be there, so insert yourself. Well, I hope you caught a nugget. I really wanted to talk about the resume and bio, but I just, went off of, it wasn't a tangent, because really those are things that you need to have on your resume and in your bio, the speaking engagements, the writings, along with your experience. So I hope you caught a nugget. And if you are not yet part of this team, I invite you now to hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications, so when I drop my next video, you will be notified. If you did get a nugget from this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you think someone else in your circle needs to hear this message too, be sure to share it with them. I enjoyed sharing this with you, and thank you for taking the time out to check out what I was talking about today. All right, everyone, until we speak again, stay safe. I am Coach Sherry, and this has been Real Talk.